When I first dyed my eyebrows, I bought a whole kit on Amazon, and if I can find the full kit, I'll link it below. Otherwise, you can purchase these items individually, but the main thing, of course, you're going to need the colorant, and this is Reflecticil. I have it in the shade 3.1 light brown, but what's not clear on Amazon if you don't buy the kit is you do need some kind of activator. I have the oxidant 3.3%, and this is the liquid form. I think there's also like a gel form or something, but I found this to be super easy to use. And then what also came in the kit was this little glass jar that you can mix the color in, this little kind of spatula thing, and a brush. So to start off, what I like to do is just put a little bit of the colorant. The Reflecticil comes in a squeeze tube like this. And I always end up with extra, so you can, as you do this more often, you can kind of gauge how much you might need or not, but I always end up with extra, but that's okay. Then you're just gonna add, I add about, I don't know, 6 to 8 drops, and as you mix it up, you'll be able to tell if you need more of that or more of the colorant. You kind of want the consistency of almost like toothpaste. You don't want it runny, but you also don't want it so stiff that you can't work it through your brows. Now, the hardest part of the whole thing, I think, is actually mixing these products together. So you actually want to use this little skinny end and just swirl those colors together, the color and that liquid together, until they form our paste. And here is kind of what we're left with. This is about the consistency that you want. And now I'm going to take this angled brush. If you don't have the brush from the kit, you can use these orange wood sticks to apply it. I found these a little bit harder to apply because I got this more on my skin and it dyed more of my skin than I really liked. So I like to take this brush. It's just a synthetic angled brush. And what I'm going to do, I have one eyebrow that seems to take dye quicker than the other. So that's my right one. So I'm going to start with my left one. And what you're going to want to do the first couple times you use this is start your timer now as you start applying, and just keep an eye on the time. You can wipe it off after, I would check it after just a couple minutes. If you're not wanting too much tint, then check it maybe after 5. You can always reapply it, and sometimes I do 2 layers. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you on this brow. And I just really, I apply it very thickly to my brows because I have a little bit of some wild hairs that kind of want to stick out and don't want to take the dye. So you'll see me apply this, and then I will kind of clean up the edge of it. And you want to get down to the roots of the hair. So I kind of just tap it on. You want to be very careful. You don't want this to drop in your eyes. And then here in the front, I'm going to kind of figure out where I want my brows to start, because there are little tiny hairs here, but I want to make sure I don't take the color in too far because it will stain the skin for a few days. So you want to make sure you haven't gone too crazy with the color. And then what you can do if you want to clean up the edge at all is just take a tissue and use your fingernail to kind of go right along the edge and wipe any of the extra color away before it's had a chance to set on there too long. Okay, then when your eyebrows are looking like Groucho Marx and you're about to panic, it's time to remove everything. Now this has been on my brows for about 10 minutes or so, maybe 12 since I started this eyebrow, but I'm just gonna take a cotton pad. I've dampened it with water, And I am just going to go over the eyebrow and remove the color. And there you can see it's a much better picture. Once you get that color off, I know the first couple times I panicked when I saw how dark my brows were looking, but you can see it's really just a nice light tint. And as I said at the beginning, you need to kind of do some tests the first couple times you do it. I would just time it, you know, maybe 3 minutes at first, then maybe 5 minutes. I actually want a little more color on my brows, so I'm going to go in with a second coat. This I will do often. Sometimes after 10-15 minutes, I take off the color and I'm like, there's a couple spots I want a little darker, so you can go in with round number 2. So here they are after round 2. I left the second round on for about 10 minutes as well. And now you can see a lot more of the hair that is actually there, which then in turn makes filling in my eyebrows so much easier. So now let's get into how I have changed up my eyebrow routine. Now, just before filling in my brows, if my foundation is a really dewy, moisturizing foundation, I will run some loose powder through my brows. Today, I'm using the BarePro foundation, so it's not super oily or moisturizing or anything. So I just dusted just a little bit of some powder through there. So now I'm going to go in with first my eye pencil, and I have 2 that I love equally. This is the NYX Precision Brow Pencil. I love it in taupe. I'm out of taupe at the moment. This is blonde. So I'm actually going to use my other favorite, which is the IT Cosmetics Universal Brow Power Pencil. So they both have a very similar shape. It's kind of a flat, a little bit thicker, so it's not super precise, but I love that about these pencils because it makes filling in your brows just a little bit quicker. So both of these pencils have a spoolie on one end. I'm just going to run that through my brows, clear out any excess loose powder. And then because I just freshly dyed my brows, you can see I have a really nice pattern already there. So I have a good amount of color because I've been using my favorite Rapid Brow. You can really see how full my brows have gotten just on their own. So now I'm just going to basically clean them up a little bit. So starting with the pencil, I'm going to line the lower part of the brow. And then up here, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. And I am doing very, very light strokes because this is a universal color. It can go very dark if you're not careful. So just super light strokes. And I'm going towards the arch of my brow first. And just filling in any extra bald spots that don't have a whole lot of hair. And then here at the front of the brow, this is where I've really changed up what I'm doing because I want it to have that kind of feathery look of real hair. And thankfully I now have a little bit of hair there, but I'm just going to further enhance it. And I'm using the MAC, what is this called? It's called the Shape and Shade Brow Tint. So on one end it has this powder, which I think is completely useless. Just my opinion. But on the other end is what makes this a genius product, and it is a marker felt tip pen. It's super fine tip. This I've had for several months and it is still perfectly pointed on the end. I still have product in there, and it has a shaker ball, which helps, I think, continue to get all of that product down to the pen. So you do need to have a little bit of a steady hand to do this, but what I'm going to do here at the front is find that line that I did with the brow pencil and flick up from there to make some hair-like strokes. And you want to be careful because you can go overboard. I don't want to end up with a block of color there. So again, just kind of randomly throw in some strokes, and then anywhere else, like right here where I want a few more hair-like strokes to make my brows look a little more natural, I will use the pen there. And then, as always, I like to finish with a brow setting gel, and my favorite right now, even though it's a little more expensive than the next one, is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. This lasts a tube of this lasts a long time, and it really dries quickly and holds the brows all day. And you can see it has kind of a very unique wand. It's flat with spiky kind of bristles on the tops and the bottom. So I just take this very lightly through, brushing up and flicking up, and that makes those hair-like strokes. It just adds texture and makes it look like everything we're seeing there is actually our brow hair. And there you have it. That's how I have been changing up my brow routine. Again, one of the keys to my new brow routine is having more hair to work with. So that's what makes this so much easier. The Rapid Brow Serum that I've been using, I now only use it once a day. So one tube has been lasting me about 4 or 5 months. But I have continued to just enjoy having fuller brows. And then by dyeing them, again, it really makes the process of filling them in that much quicker. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.